Hello, everyone, and welcome to a very special episode of Pop Counterculture Stream. We don't really have a name for it, Citizen Kane, The Godfather, The Godfather Part 2, 2001: A Space Odyssey, The Shining. And now, for like right up there with some of the greatest movies of all time, we have Batman 5, Superman Dawn of Justice. Today, I'm going to be defending this unfairly maligned masterpiece from critics and haters who just do not understand the brutal, just raw intellectual power of Zack Snyder's vision. And today, joining us to hate on this poor, just amazing little movie is the one and only Mikhail. Mikhail, want to say hi?
Thank you. And yes, I also am not just any nobody. I am in the international art community, and we have been hunting down and destroying anyone who says a positive thing about this movie. So, yes. Therefore, it's time to see what your reasoning is, because I'm willing to give you the chance before I exterminate.
Okay. All right. Look, here's the way I see it, right? Zack Snyder is just a bold, original voice, an absolute visionary, genius director. When you sit down and watch a Zack Snyder movie, you're not watching a movie. You're watching art. You're watching the best of the best that filmmaking has to offer, man. They and the thing is, Zack Snyder's movies, and especially Batman versus Superman, if you just go into all those movies and you judge them on stuff like plot and characters and themes and storytellings, you're going in there with the wrong expectations. These movies are not great movies. They're great art because they're Zack Snyder's. And Zack Snyder is a fucking artist. Boom.
You will see. We will see.
Okay. So what do you have against this movie, Mikhail? What did it ever do to you?
Well, it began with being very distasteful by 9/11 imagery. Of course, we have to say that every time a building gets destroyed in a movie, but still, that was distasteful.
But was it sexy? Because I mean, look, say what you will about the absolute a sad fucking reality of 9/11 and all the poor taste of bringing this visionary. Ben Affleck is a good Batman, and he embodies the not just the Batman character, but mostly Bruce Wayne. Hell, I'd say he almost only exclusively executes the Bruce Wayne character with any real sort of competency, and he just lets Batman be the myth. But yes, it has 9/11 imagery. I'll give you that. But we also have Ben Affleck, who's one of our greatest, hottest fucking actors around, to guide us through all this depressing ass shit,
He has proven to me that any old car can be used as a Batmobile.
Yeah.
He has proven to me that.
Yeah.
But besides that, we move on to another scene, which is his employees. And
no, the employees. You mean the greatest employees of all time?
Right. They are so good that they can't even see a spaceship that goes into the ground and it's almost going to destroy the city, but Batman has to call them on his cell phone and ask them to leave.
Mikhail, this is America. Okay? This is the United States of America. We are a country that is built on two things, all right? Capitalism and school shootings. And those are what define us as a country. What this movie does by giving us these actors who will not even advocate for saving their own lives until their boss tells them that they can survive, that to me, that gives me something to look up to. Like, this is how we should all be. All right, this is how we should all act at our jobs. We should all be willing to fucking die for our company unless our boss tells us not to. Okay, this is how this movie starts off, by giving us an idea to live up to, man. Do not ever act or think for yourself. You do what your boss tells you when your boss tells you to do it, or you get out of my country.
Now that is well said, because true. Another thing I would like to say is when this movie continues, we see our first recurring character, which is
Okay.
that guy who got his legs hit by that building. Yes.
Yeah, you mean the John Cazale of 20 of like the 2010s. Yeah, that guy, his character arc is so well defined, well presented, and most importantly, it's key to understanding what this
No,
movie is really about.
I'd have to say that it's just that I'm mad because my legs don't work the whole movie. That's all he was.
Right. Yeah. That's the whole crux of his character. Like, look, a lot of movies will take a character and then give them depth or give them, all these human emotions and all these motivations and stuff like that. But Zack Snyder, his vision is trained to one thing: myth. To just make everything as broad and as huge as possible so that it doesn't matter how like inhumanly boring these characters are, because they're not humans, they're superheroes and they're archetypes. And with that, Snyder is able to say more about the human condition than Stanley Kubrick ever has.
I'm holding them back, man. You gotta know, I'm holding them back because the Inquisition is coming right now. I'm
Oh,
holding
no.
them back, but you're making it hard for me to do so.
Of course, man, because this movie does not deserve the hate it gets, Absolutely not. I mean, I want to talk about like the opening lines of this movie, right? Give me a second to look them up. Hold on. All right. Well, what I think is let me see here. Let me make sure I fucking find it here. Here we go. This is actually on genius.com. This is how
good.
This is how absolutely incredible this fucking speech is. Let me see. Let me make sure I got it right. Oh no. God damn it. Hold on. I should have prepared this bit earlier. Hold on. So you find this
You're
fucking
testing their patience, my friend. Come
I
on.
am testing their patience. Just keep them at the gates a little bit longer here for me. Let me see. God damn it. Where is it? Okay, here we go. Here we go. Here it is. All right. Are you ready?
Okay, what is it?
Son of a bitch. Okay, now I gotta find it here. All right, hold on, everyone. I just have to find this amazing fucking speech.
Back, you animals! Oh, one of them nearly ate my arm off. Oh,
all right. Okay. All right. Here we go. Here we go. All right. Like I think this movie really just kind of presents us with this amazing opening a speech that Batman gives that just I think not only just sets the tone for this movie, but challenges other screenwriters to come up with something that is like half as fucking emotionally resonant and powerful as this. Okay. And I'm just gonna go ahead and read the first opening lines of this movie verbatim as they are written. Okay, here we go.
Go for it.
There was a time above, a time before. There were perfect things, diamond of absolutes. But things fall, things on earth. And what falls is fallen. In the dream, it took me to the light. A beautiful lie. Listen, man. The first time I heard
I haven't heard anything that edgy since I was in school.
we might as well say that about Shakespeare, bro. Because you know what? The first time I heard that, I wept. I wept throughout the entire movie, and I wept so loud that I had to go back and rewatch the movie again. And I wept again. So I watched it a third time. And it was only until the third time that I was able to get through those opening lines that were just so beautiful, Like, that's when I understood what this movie really was. And it's a myth. And in myths, emotions aren't really that important. And nothing solidifies that more than the opening lines that are so abstract and so seemingly nonsensical that it sounds like just pure gibberish. But to the knowing mind, to the artistically minded, and to the true intellectuals among us, those are words that are going to define our generation and our moment in time. Boom.
Oh, did you see that? It's in the chat. It says lies.
Let me see here. Well, okay, man. What am I lying about then?
All right, I'll have to say that this whole position is a lie. This whole movie was a lie because the way you described it is lies. But I'll have to say one more thing. It did leave us off to something that'll come back later. You know what I'm talking about?
What's that?
The M word.
The M word? What's the M word?
I can't say it yet because the name invokes awful.
Okay. Okay. No, you know what? Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm holding back tears right now that I'm remembering what you're talking about. No, yeah, you're absolutely right. But like to me, that's what this movie's been building up to. The whole movie is so clearly an exploration of what it means to be a mother, and not just that, but what it means to be an American mother. To have this weird, super like powered baby that looks like a human, talks like a human, but isn't. But you gotta just tell it. No, listen, you're laughing, but it's very true. When you have an alien, baby that you are raising, and it comes to you for help, especially when it has all these powers, like what I love about this movie, and it's really solidified in this like really, really small scene that looks like insignificant, but is really the heart of this movie, right? And it's after Superman, we're after the midpoint, so Superman almost gets bombed, and he escapes the Congress building or whatever, and he goes to talk to his mother. And like I said, this movie should have been called Batman v Superman Martha's, because that's what this movie really comes down to. Here comes Superman, and he comes in, and he just talks to his mother. He just needs help from his mother, and his mother says, "Hey, and I'm gonna butcher it. I cannot fucking like do service to this script and this acting, but the scene basically plays out like this. Superman comes in and he's lost and he doesn't
By the
know.
way, the guy who wrote that movie got an Emmy somehow.
Well, we'll get there in a second, but to show you how amazing the writing is, Batman comes into this scene and he's looking for help, and his mother takes her alien child and says, "Look, you came to me on the stars on a spaceship. You were not from me, like you don't owe me and you don't owe this planet anything." And when I think superheroes, when I think real heroes, it's someone who just really like has no fucking skin in the game, And I think this movie really knows it, because as soon as Martha Kent says those powerful words, she says, "Or save them, whatever." And or save them, whatever, is like, I kind of want to have that tattooed on my chest, because it just blew me away, because yeah, why not? Whatever, it's fucking
I don't
brilliant.
intend to condone. I simply want to inform. But I've learned from a YouTube video by a great YouTuber called Comic Tropes,
Okay.
and in his video called of Steve Ditko, he mentions that Zack Snyder himself is an objectivist, and through that philosophy, he wrote the movie. Basically, an objectivist is someone who tells. It's one of those hardcore philosophies like Stoicism, where every single thing you want to do is just towards your pursuit of happiness. Everything else, no feeling, no anything.
I didn't know that Zack Snyder was a nepo baby. That's crazy. But I mean, you could totally see objectivist themes in this movie, right? So one of the many themes of this movie that just juggles around with no real cemented direction, because this is experimental film, right? It's not your average blockbuster schlock, right? This is art.
Wait. I see you trying to run away. Why are we skipping so far ahead? No, we got to make every grueling, agonizing turn from the beginning to the end. Anyway,
what are we trying to do? What are we trying to do? Recreate the feeling of watching this movie? Listen, this movie is so bold in its vision. It's so expertly crafted together. No, hold on. I'm talking here.
Oh my God, they're coming.
I'm talking here, Mikhail. All right, hold on. Listen.
All right, I'll hold them
this
back.
This movie is a bold new vision in how to tell stories, because in most movies you want to have like a reason for one scene to lead to the other, right? You want the audience to understand, okay, A happened, which caused B, which means now we're in C. Batman v Superman says no. A is just A, B is just B, and C is just C. You can take any of these scenes in this movie, and this is just how much of a brilliant like strategist Zack Snyder in, because he baked in audience participation into the DNA of this movie, because look, you, me, we're not geniuses, all right? We're not groundbreaking like visionaries like Zack Snyder, but Zack Snyder says, you know what? I'll let you play in my toolbox. Here's this movie. And these scenes are so like disconnected that you could put them in any order and make any movie you want. And that's why this movie is incredible.
Oh, good. So you won't mind going back from like the entire thing to what we started with.
Are
Let's
you kidding
begin
me?
with Ben Affleck.
Okay, let's start with Ben Affleck then.
You know, he used to say that he loves, Batman as a character.
Mm-hmm.
And I wish I got to see that because in this movie, he wasn't Batman.
Well, let's be real. Batman is not even Batman in this movie, right? Again, this goes to show just how brilliant Zack Snyder is, because usually we go into a superhero movie, and what makes superheroes so special from heroes is that superheroes could kill anyone, right? Like Spider-Man could just kill everybody that stands in his way, but he doesn't. And that's what makes him interesting that's what makes superheroes interesting conceptually, and what makes them so fun. If they were to start just shooting everyone, we're no longer in superhero world. We're in like depressing real world. And that's what I want when I go see a movie called Batman v Superman. The depressing realities of day-to-day life that I cannot escape in any other way. You know?
That is true to the mark, like that is the reason why Batman exists. He is not a happy-go-lucky superhero. He's more or less a very darker and very less literal superhero. In an age where most superheroes back in the day had to be some form of patriotism, Wonder Woman, Superman, who was basically American guy, and every other guy out there. Batman was just an inverse. He doesn't have any powers. He doesn't have anything. Most he has is basically, grapplers, and other stuff. Right. But I'm rambling. Another thing about this movie.
I do want to address something you said, because you said there is an inverse, right? And that's what makes Batman as a character so interesting, the way that he is an inverse of other superheroes, right? Like, let's just say, for example, here, right? Superman. Or Batman stands in direct fucking like a mirror image to Superman, right? Because Batman, like, all he cares about is Gotham. Like, his heart is his city. Like, he is he unapologetically, without even,
I'd have to say that Batman and Superman were, instead of being mirrors to each other, I think they're just like those mirrors that I'm not even sure how I can describe this, but their personalities were infecting each other, because we got from Batman not feeling anything to Superman not feeling anything, and Superman not feeling anything to Batman not feeling anything. From one moment, Superman is talking about how much people he has to save and how good of a person he is. Then he doesn't care about anything when everyone blows up. Yes, I do see.
Yeah, but don't you find that interesting, though, the way that the movie contrasts and inverses like the superhero and just Batman, like the street brawler, right? Batman has loyalty and love for his city. He will do anything for his city. Superman, he doesn't even know if he wants to save the planet. And that's classic Superman, not knowing how much he cares about others.
That Superman, I'd have to say that, we're starting from Batman. So, here's the thing. Now we're going to the part where most people don't agree with, which is the Batman with a gun.
Uh-huh.
And how awful that is.
Look, a movie this dark, man, a movie that is just this unrelentingly bleak to sit through and unfun and not entertaining or visually interesting, you need to have a little bit of comedy somewhere, dude. And I don't know about you, but every time I saw Batman shoot someone, I was laughing my ass off, dude. And it just goes to show that Zack Snyder is truly a master.
Does he actually throw a batarang to anybody?
I think the best, listen, to understand Batman, we need to understand like the biggest, most important scene in this movie, which is where he gets the kryptonite, right? And let's talk about this, because here let's just break it down how the movie presents it, right? So Batman is chasing down the fucking the kryptonite that's on the ship.
No,
right?
we're jumping too far. We're jumping too far.
I just want to address this a little bit, right? Because this is this really goes to show like why Batman is such a genius, because Batman finds out that Lex Luthor has this fucking kryptonite, like, in this fucking boat, right? So what does Batman do? He shoots everybody on the way to the boat just to make sure that nobody between point A and the boat is involved, right? And it's some of the most hilarious fucking like careless violence ever. Like it's the kind of shit that I would expect to see in like a parody of like Lethal Weapon or something. And it's in
I'd
this
have to
superhero
say-
movie because Zack Snyder is a brilliant comedic genius, right? But let me just get cut to the chase here, right? Because again, Batman, superhero, brilliant detective, fucking smartest guy on the fucking block, right? He goes up
Right.
to this ship and he takes down all these people, right? He kills them all, and then the fucking kryptonite isn't there, and that's Zack Snyder subverting our expectations, right? Because usually
going
we
back to
want to
Ryan
see have a
Johnson.
well, yeah. Well, the thing is that Ryan Johnson scenes have a point. This scene doesn't. And that's what makes Zack Snyder such a brilliant director. Instead, the kryptonite is taken from a scene we don't watch. So we never get to see Batman be a brilliant detective, but we know he is because we see the Batarang. The Batarang represents intelligence. Boom.
By the way, I have to say, the Batman: The Dark Knight Returns. It is the first comic book I've ever read of Batman, and
Okay.
let me just say, if that was what it was trying to be, failure. But I will have to say something.
Okay.
The whole idea of Batman being this bad guy is challenged in that book, but ultimately says that he may be a little bit of a bad boy, but he is still our guy. In this movie, I can't say that I approve of anything this guy does. He doesn't do hundreds of thousands of dollars. He does millions of
Yeah.
dollars of damage. Like, this guy destroys a whole oil tanker, kills people inside of cars, somehow doesn't kill people outside of the road. I've never seen a city that desolated in my life. And then just goes and goes and goes. And thank God Superman's there.
Yeah, no, and listen, when I was watching this movie too, like I recently watched Kong versus Godzilla. Have you seen that movie?
Oh, yes, I've seen.
Garbage.
Fantastic.
Absolute garbage. Not only do all the scenes make sense, but we have several fights along the way of this bullshit Godzilla versus King Kong movie. Where are the themes? Okay, where are the 2 hours of political drama? That's what we need in a movie called Blank v Blank, right? This movie, to some people would say this movie wastes your time for 2 hours. Those people are idiots, you know, because what this movie is trying to do is to like show us. Okay, all right, okay, go ahead, man.
No, I'm talking to them. They're gonna come kill you.
Oh, well, just hold it back a little longer, because well, you know, I'm sorry, man, I kind of lost the train of thought there. What else you want to talk about?
Well, another thing that was going on in that movie is the depiction of Superman and how they murdered Jimmy Olsen so quickly.
Greatest villain, greatest comic book villain since Heath Ledger's Joker. There, I said it.
Ah, so he's a villain now, huh?
I mean, the movie definitely, like, again, subverting expectations, right? Like, you expect Superman to be a likable, relatable, exciting person, but this movie, what it does is that it takes our expectations and it just throws them out the window and gives us, like, what's the best word I could use it here? Like a mirror. You know, Superman in this movie is so devoid of character or of any internal conflict that in becoming like so lost and so confused.
There's so many scenes of him just like going through these very exciting, extreme situations,
and that's
just
us.
not feeling anything.
And that's us. We also are confused and are lost in this story, in this greater vision. You know, we have no idea what's going on throughout any of this movie, and neither does Superman. And the movie is asking us to be Superman and consider his point of view. The best way I could like prove this, right? Like evidence that this is an intentional thing, you know, is that like the movie is going along and it's telling us these stories, you know, we start off with the Batman perspective and then all the fallout from him fighting Zod at the end of Man of Steel, you know, and then like the movie realizes, oh, we haven't set up Superman at all. So what this movie does is that for 2 minutes, it actually gives us the like a montage of what we actually came here for. And at no point after that are we ever satisfied with that character ever again. And it's that sort of like a reflection of how unsatisfying the real world can be. That's what I really look for in a movie called Blank versus Blank, you know? Realism.
Which I would have to say that this proves why there some stories need to be separate, because we had a storyline there where Batman lost Robin, and it is one of the best stories in DC Comics to date. It's called
Mhm.
the Death in the Family, and it is where we have political espionage, a lot of like crossing of motivations, an entire storyline a lot around Robin, and
Mhm.
now here we just get one suit, some graffiti over it, and that's it.
But you know what, Mikael? That is my favorite moment in this movie. That one shot of Robin's costume with the Joker's like ha ha
Uh-huh.
ha's on it. It's so instantly lit up my imagination as to what could have possibly happened there. That all I could think was how much more I wanted to see that movie than with the movie I was watching right now. But much like in real life, we can't always go down the adventures we want. This movie just provides us the cinematic equivalent to gruel. But here's the thing about gruel, Mikael. It's healthy. It's vegetables. And when I sit down and watch a superhero movie, I want to feel like I'm eating vegetables. And not even like well-made ones, just improperly steamed ones to really, really just like wash down the disappointment of real life.
Speaking of vegetables, I never saw any mention of the meat. We never saw the scene where Superman goes into the Fortress of Solitude, which he is known to do. And we never really see what Batman's perspective is. Actually, we don't see Batman because it's just Ben Affleck. You see, Batman, the Superman hero comics have this a concept of an alter ego, where like if they change into a suit, they are a completely different person.
Sure. Yeah.
There's a scene where there was a moment in Death of the Family where Robin or Nightwing goes in and talks to Bruce, and he says, I know that Dick Grayson has had a good time, has is in speaking distance with you, but
Yeah.
Nightwing isn't. There's this whole idea where if you see a guy in a suit, he's not the person you know. And that's what
Mhm.
we never see. We never see Batman brooding inside of his costume. We never see the eerie, mysterious nature that he's
Never.
known for.
Mm-mm.
We don't see that. And I don't see why you would excuse such a thing.
Well, because like I said, man, what Zack Snyder is trying to do with Batman v Superman is to suck out all the fun and enjoyment that we expect to have when we see these types
And
of
this is
movies.
a good thing.
Yeah, it is a good thing, Like, listen, Lars von Trier makes some of the most depressing fucking movies of all time, and they're incredible. Okay, and that's what I want, man. Like when I see men in tights and capes beating the shit out of each other, I want to feel like I'm watching a Lars von Trier movie, dude. That's why, like, when those opening lines like that were so powerful and impactful, when Ben Affleck said it with such like commitment and such like emotionality and stuff like that, like it just wrecked me, dude. I felt like I was watching a Lars von Trier there. This movie, like all Lars von Trier movies, wrecked my day, and that's what I'm really looking for with these kinds of movies.
Yes, we do see it, and I do see your point in something where
Mhm.
there is no emotion, everything's sucked out, all the fun is gone. But at the same time, at least I can pretend that these numbskulls are in some way what I thought they would be.
And what did you think they would be?
Well, here's the thing. Let me put it to this way. I remember you saying that Christopher Nolan's movie, what was it called? That nuclear bomb movie. What was it
Oh,
called again?
Oppenheimer. Yeah.
Oppenheimer. You said that there was no other way than just having them in a room talking to each other, and
Right.
that was very disappointing.
Well, okay, but here's the thing: Zack Snyder's dialogue and like Christopher Nolan's dialogue, there's like no comparison and all that. There's nothing like fucking Christopher Nolan. Like all his dialogue is just like exposition and like fucking speechifying. Like At least he, like, Christopher Nolan tries to make his dialogue interesting. He kind of succeeds or fails 50-50. What this movie says is like, fuck that. We're just gonna be as blunt as and on the nose as possible. I mean, only in this movie can a director ask an actor to say a line like, "Do you bleed? You will." And not in the context of a comedy or a satire. Yeah, it was in the trailer because, you know, that really does embody not just this movie, but the audience desire to see horrific murder from these people, basically.
I'll have to say, when they were in that party and they were talking to each other, Bruce Wayne and Clark Kent were talking. Mm-hmm. I actually believed that, you see, Batman was at some point, he might as well have said, "I'm Batman," because he is not making this subtle at all.
Right, yeah. No, I mean, I like that. I like that scene a lot because I think in the real world, that is exactly like how that dialogue scene would have played out, right? Like, you have your idealistic, like, reporter who is pushing back against this billionaire who is like joking about how he owns like his job and shit like that, and then you have fucking
Lex Luthor. Now we're going to talk about the Antichrist, because you need to explain to me how Jesse Eisenberg's performance here was going to be good, because that's something I've never understood in my entire life. How anyone could say this was a good thing that he did.
It's a very good point. I mean, the question is, like, is it an actor's job to do well? Okay, hold on. All right, hold on. This was actually going to give me trouble.
Oh, really? Yeah. Dude, I've almost lost my hand. I've almost lost my hand because you keep on doing this to me.
Okay.
You're about to rip my hand off, man.
Yeah, Jesse Eisenberg. Oh, fuck. Jesse Eisenberg. Look, we're talking about a billionaire, right? Like the son of a billionaire. This movie has the fucking forethought to know that nobody would ever believe that this is our Lex Luthor. Nobody would ever believe that this is what we chose Lex Luthor to be. So what does the movie do, right? To
Lex Luthor with hair
and Lex Luthor Jr. What's so brilliant about the writing of this movie is that the real Lex Luthor is never seen. He is only spoken about, right? And we only see the outcome of his parenting. So, like, this movie does a great job of subverting the expectation of show don't tell by just having Lex Luthor say over and over, "My dad used to beat me. My dad used to beat me," you know? And you can see that pain and
somehow he
that
ended up rich. That's how he got rich, yeah.
Well, yeah, but you know, you could see that pain in his performance because he is trying so hard. He is trying so hard to give this character a Joker-like aura over him, you know? And ultimately, that is the smartest thing that Jesse Eisenberg could do to distract us from, you know, how badly written and portrayed this character is, and to make it so obvious that he's trying to be something greater. All we can do is judge him on what he is failing to provide, which is this Joker character.
Let me explain something. Let me tell you something about myself or everyone else. The only reason why people really like villains so much in superhero media is because they are the only ones which we can understand why they do things, because they are the only ones with an actual understandable goal. They are the only ones working on something, and sometimes they have a really good motivation and likable personality trait. Superheroes, right. I feel they're liked, but we have no idea what the hell they're doing, why they're doing this. I mean, we have Spider-Man out there saying, "With great power comes great responsibility." Everyone else says, "Who the hell asks?" And they're great, they're nice, they're good people, but it's like a villain we can actually understand, because we, in a way, are those types of selfish people who do things. If it makes sense, we gain those types of rewards.
Right. But what
this movie takes away from that. This movie takes away from that.
I think it actually adds to that in a very subversive way.
A friend of mine actually said, he said, "What if I told you that? What if Lex Luthor was doing all of this fighting so that he could open up a gap for Doomsday?" But to that, I said, there's a very, very slight problem, in which why the hell did he do any of this?
Well, I mean, that's what I'm getting at, right? Like that's what makes this movie so great. Is that like you look at the like Heath Ledger's Joker. To this day, there are people who dress up as the Joker for Halloween. Like that Joker, right? Like Heath Ledger's Joker. You still have people who like great
Society,
villains.
right?
Yeah, well, right. Well, I mean, great villains. Great villains are so like captivating that even though we know they're evil and they're villainous, we kind of want to be them. And what Jesse Eisenberg does with Lex Luthor is to make him such a try hard poser that and that's what a villain would be in real life, a try hard poser, right? So he's grounding it in reality by being like, here's a guy who clearly like saw the Joker and just wanted to be the Joker, but he's really fucking bad at it. And that's what villains are like in real life. They don't really have that charisma. They don't really have that, but you can so clearly tell they desperately want to and stuff, and so this movie not only does like the subversive thing, it does the morally correct thing by giving us a super villain that nobody would ever want to be, because nobody should want to be villains. And ultimately, like by playing along those hard moral lines, that's how we get good movies. That's what makes movies so good.
Speaking of villains, like the thing is, the villains in this have an opposite, which is the heroes. And you see, the thing about the heroes is that there is this history of having heroes fight each other. But you see, we can't really go into this type of like heroes fighting each other, because at a certain point we have to understand that they are heroes for a reason. So this is where we get the mind controlling gas, the cybernetic robot clones, the actual clones with the Spider-Man clone saga, and even all the clones of Superman, which have been inspired by legacy characters. A lot of things that were made to be real characters were actually just a way for us to subvert the heroes in some way, to have it believable that they fight. In this one, I not only believe that these people should fight, but I don't believe they are heroes anymore.
Well, I mean, that's because that's sort of the ideas that this movie is trafficking in, right? By presenting us this superheroes in the real world, of course, a billionaire playboy who like could afford to just beat up all his problems, of course he would have no personality. Of course, an alien from another planet would have like no personality whatsoever. So what this movie does by giving us two superheroes that are kind of boring and have no personality is that it justifies the fact that they have no motivation to fight each other. And that's usually what you're looking for in a movie where characters fight each other, motivation. This movie says, no, this is the real world, baby. And in the real world, people just beat each other up. And that's facts.
It is true that this is the message that it's pushing. But I would have to ask one thing.
Okay.
Before we get into the SmackDown, as I said, there was this really weird scene where Clark comes in, and I had to skip this scene when I saw it because it was so bad. But where he went in and he saw his dad, a ghost or whatever the hell that was, because it's canon that he died. But he comes in and he starts talking, and I just don't understand what's going on at all.
Well, I think it actually kind of really, this movie, I think, is in conversation with Man of Steel in a very interesting way, because in Man of Steel, there's a moment where Superman, he doesn't know what to do. He goes to the Fortress of Solitude, and Kal-El is there, his father is there, and his father
Kal-El is actually his Superman's real name.
Superman's real name, right? What's Jor-El?
Yes.
Yeah. So Jor-El is there, and he's giving his son, like his actual father is giving him son that is inspiring him to be the hero that he needs to be. And what's so great about the metaphor there is that the only difference between Jor-El and Clark Kent's whatever, the Kent father and stuff like that, is that Jor-El is this alien and this warrior, and it's exciting, and the movie is saying you should embody all this excitement of being this superhero fucking alien. But that's Man of Steel. Okay, Dawn of Justice, by sort of doing that scene again, but having it be his Earth father, is it's really just playing into the themes of this movie, right? Like it's basically saying like, hey, forget about being that exciting ass kicking alien that just wants to like save the world and shit, you know? Be me, be a boring person, be a boring complicated person and shit that's just kind of dull. And in that we can really aspire to be greater, you know?
Yes, be greater by not doing anything. Yes.
Right, yeah. Right,
And then
which is
we go into Superman's date or whatever. Now you see the entire appeal. They are married at this point in the comics, but the entire appeal is that we never really understood whether these two would even get along. She loves Superman like a crazed person, but the thing is, she does not like Clark Kent at all. In
right.
this, all of that nuance, all of that greatness, all of that fun is stripped away.
Right. Well, I mean, because if Clark Kent is a reflection of humanity, you know, like I think Amy Ryan or I'm
Lois
sorry,
Lane.
Lois Lane, yeah, like I don't think Lois Lane would like a character like Clark Kent because he's so boring and he's not fun and he's not interesting. Like, of course, she would want to be like, you know, with Superman and stuff. Again, dude, all of this whole movie is about how superheroes should be boring, you know, and that's the underlying fucking theme and message of this movie.
Hmm. My God, I was about to spit out my coffee, but I held it in because I couldn't believe what you just said. But anyway,
Boom.
yes, that idea of this just like being boring is baked so much into this movie.
Yeah,
Like,
it's so boring. Like the first 2 hours are like the most lazily written, unimaginative political drama since the
and don't
God's
forget
Not
those.
Dead, dude. Since God's Not Dead 4.
I've never noticed how common it is to see a story where like out of nowhere there's just like the main character riding around in a bus for no reason. Like we just see him like in a bus. And most
Mhm.
movies try to make this into a mood or something, but at this point I hate it. I hate this bus scene. I hate to see them going from one place to another just because of this movie.
Yeah, man, this movie was so impactful to me that I only remember like the really important stuff. I don't know what bus scene you're talking about because
Oh
like
well,
all the highs are so high.
yeah. It's that bus scene where like that woman from like that whole Congress thing was just moving from one place to another. And that
Right?
also
Yeah.
says we don't even need a main character and to see his personality or any kind of thing. We need to see all the side characters.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because
Yeah.
that's what I want to see when I go see a Superman movie. You know, a poor woman who is trying to get justice for her loved ones that Superman killed.
Right. We do.
Man, we're let's go ahead and
And he's the hero.
okay, hold on. All right, bro, check the chat. But yeah, man, I want to talk about like yeah, you know, I actually just want to like understand from you, Mikhail, like why do you hate this movie so much? Why do you hate art so much? You know?
Oh, this is art? Well,
Yeah,
I'll have to say one thing. The movie is so slow and just boring and just extremely devoid of
like
passion or any
like
kind of.
all like all important movies should be. Dull and boring, yes. Dull and boring, yes.
Yes, it never moves and it shows why these people shouldn't be heroes at all. And
Mm-hmm.
it also shows Batman going around killing people with guns and all that.
Which
And
is
then we get to Doomsday and the most weird thing where we're not even to Doomsday yet. We're going to that part where where oh my goodness, it jumbles around in my brain because I think about it. But in
of course
this,
it does. It haunts
we
you.
finally get what we came for. We
Uh-huh.
finally get what we wanted so bad, which
Mm-hmm.
is them fighting.
Right.
And we see Superman and Batman. And instead of just talking to Batman or just like trying to, he needs to kill him by telling
Right.
Lois, hey, I need to go and kill Batman. And so he goes in, he flies around over there, he gets to Batman and he tells him, please help me out. And after that, Batman just kicks him ass. It kicks
Yeah.
him ass.
Yeah, no, I mean, because like what I think is so interesting about that movie or about that scene is that this it comes so like there is no buildup to it whatsoever. Like there's no anticipation for this fight. The movie has so many
There was
disconnected scenes that, like, yeah, I mean, you go in there wanting to see Superman versus Batman, sure, but
no. The dream sequence. Remember that whole thing where
that's the whole thing. Yeah. Well, okay, but that's the sort of abstract thing. But what's so interesting is that the first 2 hours of this movie have so little to do with the conflict, right? It's all about this political drama and all this bullshit.
George Lucas also came in.
Well, but by the time we get to that fight, I didn't even care. I didn't even care about the fight at that point, you know. And I just kind of wanted all of it to be over. And when I sit down and think about that feeling, and it's like, wow, man, like fucking mind blown, you know. Like you think that if you're going to watch a Superman versus Batman movie, that's going to be the thing that you look forward to the most. But this movie gives us so much other stuff that by the time we get to the actual fight, I was checked out emotionally. And all I saw was two mythic heroes that I could not relate to on a human level beat the shit out of each other. And that's what real drama is all about.
Mm-hmm. Man, there was so much political. There was so much like political stuff in this movie, and also in the comic book Dark Knight Returns, we actually got to see how there might be a winning strategy with Batman, but in this one, there isn't one. It's just Batman getting his ass kicked 24/7, no breaks, and there was no point where he would be even imagine winning. And then he goes into this position where he has a spear and he weakens Superman and ties him up in a rope, drags him down to the alley, and then he quotes Mein Kampf about humanity or something. And then he finally says how men are brave. And then we get to the scene. Get to the scene, the M word. We all know what it is.
Yeah. Tell him.
Yeah, that thing. Oh, Martha.
Yeah. Martha. Now, I don't know about you, but my mother's name is not Martha, you know? But when I saw the way Ben Affleck said, "Why did you say that name? What is that? What do you mean by that? Why did you say that?" I felt that, man. Cause like if I met someone whose mom was also like had the exact same name as my mom, we'd be brothers, bro. We would be brothers.
Yeah.
And even if that person like shot my dog or beat the shit out of me, if they had the same name as me, then a second, bro, like all anger would just like leave my body because you know what? We all have moms. Everyone has a mom. All those people that Batman killed, they have moms too. But did that stop him before? No, it didn't, because none of those guys had moms named Martha.
But that scene, man, like that scene,
yeah,
it not only proved gave more problems to a situation where she threw the spear down water, but also it also made the instant bromance between Superman and Batman. So like it just like I can't believe it. I can't believe how quick that happened.
Yeah. I mean, because that's how people are sometimes, you know, like sometimes they just completely flip 180 with no explanation whatsoever after finding out someone has the same name as their own mother. But you know, like what's so crazy about what this movie's philosophy on superheroes are is that if Batman ever found out that like somebody he killed had a mom named Martha, that would destroy him. And you know, maybe that's why he shouldn't be killing anyone at all. But does Zack Snyder kill? Does Zack Snyder care? No. He doesn't put any thoughts into his movies. And that's what makes him so fun to watch.
Oh, so you're saying it was fun. Okay, everyone, stop it. Please don't kill this guy.
Well, let me tell you why, right? A Deus Ex Machina. A lot of people would say that a Deus Ex Machina is a sign of a lazy writer, right? You have a problem, and then at the very last minute, when things are at their worst, just someone shows up and says, "Oh, hey, I got it." Right? That is like pure classic high tier writing is to just have a Deus Ex Machina. In this movie, our Deus Ex Machina is a literal god. Wonder Woman, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
She's been teased through the entire movie, and she was just popping up and there and just talking to everyone, and then just came in, and then Batman found out the picture.
Mm-hmm.
And her role in the movie was to find Aquaman. And man, there is so much omelets being made. If we could split all this, we could feed the world with all these Easter eggs.
Easily.
But
What I thought was so
yeah,
interesting about this movie, though, is that, when we're talking about myths, we usually talk about ideas of fate, especially like in the Greek myths and stuff like that, right? And what I think is so interesting is that this movie is playing with sort of foreshadowing so in such an like interesting way that for no reason whatsoever, when Batman looks into the files of like the Flash and Cyborg and Aquaman and Wonder Woman, they all have logos already. They all have trademarked, like registered logos that defines them. And to me, that is what I think a superhero would do in the real world to try to, protect their secret identity. Is to have a registered, copyrighted, trademarked, on the file logo that they are referred by as all times.
that's good. That's good because that's what they did.
That's
Another
exactly
thing about this movie, about all of this, is that when Doomsday finally showed up,
mm-hmm.
it looked like a tunnel trog. It didn't look like Doomsday at all. Where's the bones? Where's everything? What is that?
Again, this movie trying to remind you of a better film. It reminded me of the orcs from Lord of the Rings, and all I could think was like, man, I'd rather be watching Lord of the Rings right now. Which
Tunnel
is
trog.
a good movie.
That's not an orc. They're bigger, but they're not orcs.
Well, it kind of had the face of an orc and all that, But like Doomsday to me, like he's everything that a good supervillain should be, right? We don't know who the fuck he is. We don't know where the fuck he comes from.
No,
and his backstory is only kind of like lightly touched upon. And that just builds so much dread and anticipation, especially because we don't even get to like introducing him until like 10 minutes before the fight, which is exactly what you want to do to build tension throughout an entire movie.
Well, I'll have to say one thing. One thing about that whole Doomsday fight.
Okay.
Oh, it's like that. That whole thing where they were fighting so desperately and so hardly. The entire thing was done off of the most desolate place in the world, because we know what happened in the last movie with Man of Steel, where they destroyed a whole city, right?
Yeah, it was badass.
Yeah, but I'll have to say one thing.
Uh-huh.
This whole movie with Doomsday out there, man, that guy, I don't even know why he was there. Why did Doomsday have to be made when Luke Skywalker took the blood of Zod, mixed it with his own or something else, turned him into Doomsday, and then Doomsday comes in and kills everyone? And why? That's the biggest thing. It never asked why. The movie never asks. They took the word why and removed it.
But that's sort of like what this whole movie feels like, and that's what makes it so bold and experimental. It feels like a movie that was made where nobody stopped to think themselves and ask themselves why. And that sort of like random chaotic like nature, it seeps all the way through the movie, in my opinion. And I think that's very intentional. I think it's very intentional to just kind of not think about stuff the way Zack Snyder does.
I'll have to say one thing.
Okay.
Zack Snyder made a movie where we would not understand what was going on. We're just
looking
at the mirror confused. And because the actors are as confused as we are, and we just stay there forever in a perpetual, lignant, horrifyingly uninteresting story where we don't know anything, and why anything happens, we have no idea.
Yeah, I saw Sucker Punch too.
Good.
I was going to wrap this up here. Give me your biggest defense of this movie, Mikhail. What you got against this movie? What you got against this movie? The biggest one.
Okay, I'll have to say one thing. The biggest thing I have against this movie is that it exists.
Wow. So you don't even. So what are you saying, that movies should just not exist now?
Yes. Some movies should never have been made.
Well, whatever you think, Mikhail, this movie was made. All right, whether you like it or not. And this movie, the attitude that it has, again, the best way to explain the power of this movie and what makes it such a bold vision, it just comes down to the scene that I mentioned earlier. So I'm just going to reiterate one more time. The heart of this movie, the key to understanding what makes this movie so great, is that when Batman goes to his Earth Mother and asks for guidance, she tells him, yeah, you don't really owe us anything, but if you want to save people, I don't know, maybe give it a shot.
Objectivity.
And yeah, and well, I mean, and to me, that is objectively the greatest message a superhero movie could fucking have for your average person. Should you fucking be a hero? Should you try to be the best person that you can be? Should you try to aspire to great heights? I don't know. Maybe, guy. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the best. Thank you. Yep. The movie was made with a budget, somehow got passed, and everyone agreed to it.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's okay. Let's go ahead and drop character here and actually like talk
Okay.
about this fucking movie. I don't think I can do it anymore, man.
Oh yeah, no, you can go for a few more laps, but we're almost there.
Dude, like what the fuck was Warner Brothers thinking when they gave Zack Snyder the keys to the kingdom with this shit, bro?
You know what Warner Brothers were thinking? They were thinking, how can we make Marvel out of this? Because the entire movie, they did not care about anything except that one scene where like Aquaman shows up or something.
Yeah.
That's what they were thinking.
No, 100%. But like, okay, so like, cause dude, like, I knew the DCEU was doomed from day one. I knew it was doomed from day one because it was Zack Snyder, bro. Because it was Zack Snyder. Like, Zack Snyder for me, he is one of the worst people who have ever like gotten the job as a director, at least in film. I think the guy should make commercials and music videos. He's amazing at coming up with great images, but he can't tell a fucking story. What's up?
Oh, did you hear that? It's Tommy Wiseau saying he did a whole sigh of relief because at least,
dude, at least
Tommy Wiseau.
Yeah, at least Tommy Wiseau is a fucking fascinating guy. Like, there is no other fucking person on this planet like Tommy Wiseau. That's why when you watch a Tommy Wiseau movie, you're in for a fucking treat. Like, nobody else could make this. But the thing about Batman versus Superman is that every fucking 15-year-old edgelord who is going through his like violent video game phase, they all would have made the same movie the exact same way. That's the crazy part, man.
Yep, I already said that this is the most edgy thing I've ever heard in my life, but like, yeah.
Yeah, no. It is just like so unpleasant. The movie looks like cement. Like, the movie just looks like cement to me. And it just looks gross. Like, I don't know, man. Like, I'm not, you know me, dude. I'm not the biggest superhero guy.
But let me tell you, like, there is something where I'm kind of surprised that no other movie has ever done. Like, the nature of Gotham. Because like every movie goes into Gotham and it shows up to a thing like that.
Yeah.
Gotham, to me, it's like we have no idea what's going on. The cars are all from the 1950s. The buildings are all from Gothic architecture from the 1680s. The people are all either talking Italian or something else. We have no idea what's going on.
Right.
And Gotham is like that, and no movie has done that. It's all in Chicago.
Well, I mean, the thing is that, like, I mean, Nolan, like, every single one of his movies, they shot like a different city for Gotham. Because
that's what I really want. Like, just give me a city where I'm like, what the hell is going on in this place? But the closest we got was with I can't remember his name, but it starts with Tim. Well, the movie where like that whole like the neck brace Batman movie.
Oh, I'm not sure.
Oh yeah, Tim something. But yeah, like Gotham has never been shown, and they showed up all kinds of other things. But that's the weird thing. They show from different places, but it all just looks like America, you know?
Right. Well, what I think is interesting, because like they did shoot Gotham in Chicago for this movie, right? I think they shot in Chicago for Gotham and Batman versus Superman. I think I got that right.
It doesn't matter. It's America. Like,
well,
that's the thing.
Here's the thing, right? Is that like the reason why Zack Snyder got this job is because they originally wanted Christopher Nolan to make Man of Steel. But Christopher Nolan said, "Nah, fuck that. I'm gonna go make real movies." And Warner Brothers says, "Oh, come on, man." And then Christopher Nolan was like, "Okay, all right, look, just pick a director. I'll produce it, and they'll have my name on it, and they'll have my vibe on it, and whatever. We'll just take it from there." So, like, what I think is interesting is that Nolan shot Chicago for Gotham, and I think that Zack Snyder also shot Chicago for Gotham in his movie. So what I think
That's
is
why we got that whole car chase. Like that car chase, it's just so extreme and violent and horrifying. But that's only because The Dark Knight was such a great, car chase thing. It
Yeah.
actually defined a whole thing because every other director I feel has been trying to lift that bus up. But yeah, like that is why I think that he wanted to do the same thing.
No, you're exactly right. Like Zack Snyder saw Christopher Nolan's like vision for Gotham and Batman and said, I got nothing. I'm just gonna do what he's doing. I'm just gonna go shoot it in Chicago. What else am I gonna do? And that's what makes Zack Snyder a great director.
I wonder what was going through his mind when he was filming Jesse Eisner going ding 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 like that. It's like he found us. He's hungry.
Dude, I don't know. Like, I have never seen like this. Zack Snyder is not a good director with actors, bro. Like, so many of his movies have actors giving like terrible performances, like Malin Ackerman in Watchmen. She's so lost. Like she so has no idea what the fuck to do. Like, what I feel bad with like Jesse Eisenberg watching this because like my girlfriend and I
Eisenberg, sorry.
Yeah, my bad. No, Lindsay and I watched Fleischman is in Trouble. Have you seen Fleischman is in Trouble?
Who?
Well, it's a show on Hulu, but it's called Fleischman is in Trouble, and Jesse Eisenberg stars in it. And dude, he is so fucking good in that, like mind-blowingly good.
I've seen him in another thing. It was called Silicon. It was a story about Facebook.
Yeah, social.
Yeah, that was. Yeah, like you see, he was in that Facebook movie, and he was just so good. I could see him as Mark Zuckerberg on that. I mean, he was such a good guy, well cast in that movie.
Yeah,
and in this one, it's like, where did all the talent go?
Yeah, it's so sad. Like, so many times when I see a Zack Snyder movie, I see a lot of frustrated actors. Like, all I can see is like, because I mean, take what Eisenberg is doing and mold it and shape it and play with it a little bit, and maybe you got something good. But I feel like Snyder said, "Well, it's Jesse Eisenberg. Or what am I gonna say?" And he just kind of let Jesse Eisenberg run wild with it. He almost reminds me of Jared Leto's Joker, like so clearly lacking direction. It's just an actor making an ass of himself because there's nobody saying, "Hey, don't do this, don't do that." Like Snyder said, "Whatever, dude, go crazy. We'll film it." And that's what the whole vibe feels like.
Yeah, I did like Heath Ledger's Joker because it worked out there. But this one, he just every single smart thing that he's supposed to do is followed up with a stupid reason, and which is none at all. And after a while, we just kind of see less and less coming out of it until he finally ends up in jail. He's finally got his like crown, which is just being bald. And then he's like going, he's hungry.
Ding, 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 ding. Oh, my God, bro. It's so sad when you see him be so fucking amazing and Fleischman is in trouble and then seeing him in this. It's like, buddy, thank God you got out of that. I am so glad fucking Eisenberg or Jesse Eisenberg didn't fucking get stuck in this DCEU shit, man, because he deserves so much better in this shit.
Yeah. I will say there is one advantage to that we both can agree on because I didn't want to go see Blue Beetle because God damn it, another origin story.
Right. Like, dude, yes. 100%. I was so annoyed by that at the beginning of this movie. Like, do we really need to? And then the worst part is that like the again, Snyder has no good ideas of his own. The way he shoots fucking little Bruce falling into that well. And like the bats, that was just Batman Begins. What the fuck? Like I was like, dude, what did you do? Copy and paste the footage?
Yeah, I mean, at least Marvel can actually just have these characters standing around talking without needing to go back into their. Oh man, do you remember that one time when I fell into that well? No, they just talk like regular people and we don't have to see another origin story. We know who these people are. That's the whole point of this whole cinematic universe. They just didn't get that, and they have to show every single thing in the exact same order in every single movie.
Yeah, and dude, and listen, I am one of those people who hates that like Joss Whedon Marvel quippy humor.
Yeah.
I'm tired of it. I'm sick and tired of it because it's not just in Marvel movies anymore. It's bleeding over to everything. But you know what? Watching a movie this devoid of personality and humor, I would have fucking killed for like a bad fucking Marvel joke at some point in this movie, man. Because like the movie gives you nothing. It gives you fucking nothing to latch onto. Emotionally, comedically, nothing, man. Like at least when I'm fucking rolling my eyes at like Tony Stark being all smarmy, at least I'm feeling something that makes me want to roll my eyes.
Yeah.
Batman versus Superman, I just wanted it to be over, dude. Like I was just like, please, just fucking stop. I can't do it no more.
Can we really go without this little of story? Can we really go forward with this?
Dude, like Godzilla versus Kong. That guy understood the fucking the assignment. I think it was Adam Wingard who directed it. He understood the fucking assignment, dude. We got 3 escalating, increasingly more badass fights between Godzilla and Kong. And then the third one is just a big giant fight where a bunch of monsters fight each other. And it's so like that movie does not pretend to have the themes of this movie. It is like an hour shorter, and it is like 3 times the fucking movie this is, because it is at least like fun and you have an experience watching it. This is just drivel. I hated
my favorite scene of all time is Kong just going into that like submarine or whatever the hell that was.
Yeah,
just crushing it in his hand, dropping it, and while all the while he's going no, and just crushed it in his hand. It fell on the floor, and then he just moves on.
Dude, honestly, like that to me, Warner Brothers fucked up. They should have put all the effort they put into the DCEU into the Monarch, Godzilla, and Kong thing, because those movies do not try to be as deep and as fucking grim dark.
They tried.
Well, okay, with the original Godzilla. I'm sorry, say it again.
They tried making a whole environmental message with Godzilla in the entire 2 movies. No, the second movie, King of the Monsters. But they tried. But after that, we were like, okay, we're out of this. We're done.
Okay, but take it at its peak though. Take like the better, like Kong Skull Island and Godzilla versus Kong. Those are, to me, those are great fucking movies in my opinion. I love those movies. But
Kong Skull Island is like the best. Oh man.
Oh dude, Kong Skull Island is so underrated. That dude, like that should be okay. Now we're getting on a whole other topic. But
I know.
Those movies with so little ambition, like they just want to have a good time, those succeed at every single thing that it sets out to do. We're just here to watch a giant monkey beat up a giant lizard, and it does it so fucking well.
They don't even have anything in the comic books. Like in the DC universe, there's this Channel 52, which is the entire news station that they have. In this, it's the real world.
It's the real world. It's literally
station.
Yeah. For what?
They have nothing. Like it's like I couldn't even tell the difference between Gotham and Metropolis in this. You know.
That's
like,
very true. Yeah, very true.
Metropolis has like bright blue colors and all kinds of like lucid tones, all kinds of beautiful stuff. And Gotham is supposed to be dark. In this, they're the same thing.
Yeah. The only way you can tell them apart is because Gotham is always at night and fucking Metropolis is like 50-50 and shit, you know?
Yeah, they must have signed something with a demon or something. I don't know.
Man. All right, bro. Hey, I'm gonna go ahead and end the stream right here. But Mikael, thank you so much for joining me, man. This was fun. I really like the idea. Maybe we should do it again sometime.
Oh yeah. There is something like apparently there's a guy named Shadiversity, and he's been making this book. And like, if it's anything like
Shadiversity,
yeah, like people have been saying that this is horrible. Like this is the worst book I've ever read. And if it's anything like Redemption, oh boy.
Yeah, at least Redemption was fucking competent. I don't know what these guys can fucking do, but yeah, man. Yeah, everyone, that's gonna be it for today's stream. Thank you all for watching. Hit like and subscribe if you haven't yet. Let us know what you guys thought of today's stream. If you guys want to see more of this kind of debate format and shit, because I had a lot of fun with it. Mikael, you want to say bye to everyone, man?
Yep. Cheers, everyone. Have a good night. Have a good time. All right, see ya.
Peace out, everyone.